Hey there, friend. Welcome to another episode of the Between podcast. This is just a short little episode. I I wonder who discovered pumpkin spice. I wonder if they're getting their due. I wonder if there's a person just sitting on some big orange throne in a pumpkin spice mansion and just sipping on an $8 latte all day long. And the fall is great, isn't it? The autumn is awesome. As I'm recording this episode, we're in a time of transition. Halloween decor is showing up at all the stores. Coffee shops become seasonal drug dealers, feeding the pumpkin spice addictions of women in camel colored and burgundy hued outfits. the fall the fall is almost here. Here's my hot take for the fall. I don't actually like pumpkin spice, but I do like candy corns. Those little yummy corn syrup or honey constructed candies. Man, I can fit like 20 of those into my mouth at a time. Oh, and those little marshmallow cream pumpkins too. I love those. And I love fall beers, Oktoberfests and Marzens. This season of change, this season of transition is pretty great. There's something for everyone. And it has me thinking about transition, about change. Has me thinking about those moments when we feel the seasons turning over in our lives. Have you ever shared a moment with someone and in that moment you just knew that things were changing? You could sense the newness and discomfort between you, the peculiar sensation that things were um, different now, things that were simply are no longer. Maybe your child suddenly looked or sounded different to your loving parental gaze. Maybe you noticed a parent seeming older in a way that you just didn't expect to happen so quickly. Maybe an old friend seemed distant and different. You couldn't put your finger on why exactly, but they were just, they seemed to be becoming a new version of them now. Those moments, those moments can be sacred. They can be scary too, but they can be sacred. Holy transition moments, blessed bridge moments. If our eyes and our hearts and our souls are open in those moments, we can appreciate them for what they are. We can capture them in our spiritual memories and hold on to them forever, knowing as we've always known deep down that things are meant to change. Things are meant to evolve. Things are meant to resurrect in new ways. I've got two little quotations I want to share with you, if you'll allow me. There's this book of blessings I have on my desk that's titled To Bless the Space Between Us by John O'Donohue. Now, if that's not a book with a title that is directly relevant to our growing global faith community called Between, well, I don't know what is. To Bless the Space Between Us, it's called. Anyway, somewhere in that book, buried inside one of the many beautiful blessings that it has, there's this tiny little passage. Here's what it says: always have the courage to change, welcoming those voices that call you beyond yourself. I love the idea of welcoming the voices that call us beyond ourselves. I've found that sometimes those voices come in the form of people in our lives who are changing, who are growing, and who are evolving. And they show up in front of us as an example of how we're supposed to do the same thing, how we're supposed to have the courage to change too. Okay, I wanted to share one other quote with you. This is from one of my favorite faith related authors and artists, Scott Erickson. Scott is also known as Scott the Painter on social media. I have one of his prints hanging in my office. The image is of a silhouette of a person, and instead of a head, the person in the image has a lit match, like where their head should be, and the hair looks like the flame of the match. Beneath the image, there's a quote that reads like this: grant me the wisdom to know when to light the way forward or to burn the whole thing down. May my light be a gift to others, either way. In times of change and transition in our lives and in our relationships, we often have to be the light because the way ahead is darker than the path we've been following. That old path was illuminated by the wisdom of time, but the new way forward requires us to shine something ahead, something from deep within. There's this passage from Isaiah that I think speaks to these moments of sacred transition in our lives. The passage from Isaiah reads, "I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths, I will guide them. I will turn the darkness into light before them and make the rough places smooth. These are the things I will do. I will not forsake them." That's God promising us that when the way ahead looks dark, but we hear a voice calling us beyond ourselves, a voice calling us beyond the things that we've known and been sure of, a voice calling us to not fear, to have faith in what might be ahead, to know that the rough places we feel in this moment of change will eventually be smoothed. I've been thinking a lot about people in my life who are experiencing big moments of life transition right now, friends who have just had babies, parents whose babies just went off to college for the first time, older adults who are being confronted with the realities of aging, little kids who are encountering the challenges and transitions and changes of growing up in new and frightening ways. I've been thinking about how seasons change. I've been thinking about these moments when we know our relationships, our friendships, and our identities are in a moment of transition. These moments are sacred. And talking about them with others is one of the holiest and most spiritually satisfying things we can do, especially when we find people who know the turmoil and possibility that comes along with change. As the summer turns to fall, sip a pumpkin spice something, chew on some candy corns, toast someone with an Oktoberfest beer, and ask them what season of their life they might feel changing alongside the golden leaves on the trees. Share with them some of the transition turmoil you've been feeling. Light the way forward for each other. And I suppose that brings me to my final point of this short episode. This is a transition moment for this podcast. Nothing dramatic. It's just the official end of season 1. We'll get started on season 2 almost immediately. In fact, I'm already starting to book some guests and think about format changes. We may include some more video style podcast episodes next season. We got a bunch of fun stuff ahead. There's a bunch of amazing people I'm hoping to be able to get on the show. I'm so excited about what it's going to be. But I think I wanted to take a moment to really express my gratitude to everyone who has listened, to you, everyone who has given us 5-star reviews. There's a bunch of those. Everyone who has shared this podcast with their friends. And I want to give a huge thank you to all of the phenomenal guests we've had on the show this year. I mean, I couldn't have possibly imagined the level of sacred conversations we've been able to have. Just amazing guests. And I'm so, so grateful that I've learned so much from all of them. Okay. Hey, before you go, as always, please don't forget to sign up for things like our Substack newsletter. Well, all of our, I'm getting lots of people engaging with Substack, and I'm so excited for that venue for people to be able to read and to be able to watch and to be able to listen and to be able to engage with one another. Go to our website and subscribe to our main email list. That's probably always the most important thing you can do. Go to between.church and just click on sign up and fill out that really simple form just to get on our main email list. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. Maybe the most exciting thing that's happening around the world right now is that there are people starting between groups in their local community. Between groups are just group of people, informal, formal, whatever. Like whatever you want to do. You can get together in a coffee shop, get together at a brewery, maybe over an Oktoberfest beer sometime soon. Maybe get together in a living room or in a church meeting space or a church basement or at a park or in your village or whatever. Get a small group of people together. And I think what most people do is they watch a 5-minute sermon that we put out, or they read one of the pieces that we put out every week, and then they discuss it. And most of those things come with discussion questions, or they just make up their own discussion questions. And the most important thing that happens is not that you watch, all the incredibly amazing things that I'm putting out there. No, the most important thing is that you connect with each other in those groups. You just create a good reason to get together. That's the idea between groups, is there just a good reason for real sacred human connection to happen in a real way in your life. Anyway, a bunch of people are doing that, and I hope you do it too. Find whatever way makes sense to you to be a part of our global, inclusive, growing faith community. Our community is entirely focused on helping you create more moments of sacred human connection in the space between you and every person you encounter in your life. My favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.